Hey everyone, can you believe it? There's a rumor I found on the internet that says every person will grow older by 1 year this year. Damn it, it's coming true! What happens when the current season ends? You suffer from withdrawal, and then you start asking, what's next? Heck, this could even happen during the current series. Some fans just can't wait any longer and dig anywhere they can to get any kind of intel on what is the next series. What will it be about? For series like Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, with seasons that run for a whole year, the information of the next installment comes out at least in as around the third quarter of the current show. Ultraman used to be like this too. However, nowadays we have half-year seasons running from July to December, so there's a gap between the end of the season and us knowing what the heck the next one is. So, we get much more Star for information. At least, as far as I know, because I know nothing about Rider or Sentai. Damn it, where's my ID? Introducing Rumours, Leaks and Speculation, where people starve for information, dig out anything they can find out about what's brewing in the production studio, or even better, make up some of their own rumors. This year is particularly special because it's an anniversary year. And usually, the anniversary series is a momentous event. And on top of that, Ultraman Z was very well received, so yeah, we wanted to know more. So I thought I'd take a bit of a dive into the rumor scene of this year's Ultraman Trigger. We'll be looking at the rumors and speculation and leaks leading up to the first teaser trailer for this series. Now, a popular breeding ground for most rumors on the internet for multimedia properties is the message board known as 4chan. Seriously, when it's rumor season for stuff like video games, you can get assaulted by how many of these things there are. For stuff like Ultraman though, rumors more commonly originate from the original 4chan, 2chan, which is basically Japanese 4chan, and also from Chinese web links like Weibo. Leaks about toy packaging and stuff are typically also found on Siamese, Vietnamese or Indonesian Facebook pages too for some reason. Although for today's activity, we'll mostly be looking at stuff from 4chan. Why? Because the stuff that goes around the previous sources I've talked about gets shared and discussed on 4chan too, and I can't speak those other languages. So first up, it all started with the Bandai toy catalog leaks in 2020. As seen here, there were new toy listings for stuff from the series Ultraman Tiga, Ultraman Dyna, and Ultraman Gaia that led to speculation about the next series being related to TDG. Because they don't just randomly select toys to be sold. For instance, Ultraman 80 was also here, due to his appearance in the Absolute Conspiracy, so they are selling merch of him. This one popped out at around the 20th episode of Ultraman Z, so all things considered it's quite an early leak. And as you can guess, hype for the next series quickly grew because a lot of fans were fans of Tiga, Dyna and Gaia. The next big thing that happened was the unveiling of Ultraman Chronicle Z, Heroes Odyssey, which prominently featured Ultraman Tiga. This is not a leak, but it definitely confirmed the toy catalog leak and strengthened the rumors of the next series being at least related to Tiga or Dyna. Now, why is this? The Chronicle series typically hints to a premise for the next installment. Here are some past examples of this. Ultraman Chronicle 0 and Jeet for Ultraman Z, of which Ultraman 0 and Jeet did appear and played a part in the show. Ultraman New Generation Chronicle for Ultraman Taiga, of which the New Generation heroes all showed up in the first episode, gave the Tri-Squad their powers, and were all involved in the Taiga movie, and even more examples. Before these big revelations and the toy catalog leak happened, there wasn't much substantial rumors or speculation, or at least none that I found. If any of you did find any speculation from before, I'd like to know and you can tell us in the comments. Now let's get to the crazy rumors. I'd like to think that at this stage, most of it is actually just theories and ideas thrown around, disguised as leak information from insiders. Almost out of nowhere, in early January a trademark name showed up, being Ultraman Trigger. It kind of adds up to the trend of the TDG Ultras, with all of them having 3 katakana characters and ending with a syllable of A, or A. Then several rumors popped up. First, let's look at this one. This is one of the first rumors that popped up on 4chan relating to the new Ultraman series, but there's no source behind it, probably just some guy's wild dream. Now this says it's a post-Gaia series, and the power is based on Earth and space, and that Tiga and Dyna came to the universe once in the past to prevent a destruction by an entity called Pigamon. Now, we have the benefit of the doubt to know that it's not a post-Gaia series, but even then, this rumor is honestly pretty flimsy. If anything, Tsuburaya would have likely made it a post-Tiga and Daina series, and have Gaia and Augur be the ones who have helped before. After all, Tsuburaya acknowledges Tiga as the most important of the Heisei trilogy. And I think it's awfully convoluted if Tiga and Daina, who both have protected the Earth during different times to save another series universe. Also, Pigamon sounds dumb, but the powers based on Earth and space do sound cool, I'll give it that, if not incredibly vague. This rumor does have some degree of substance to it. Apparently, from a Chinese forum, it says that Bilgamo is rumored to be the base of operations for Trigger's attack team. Bilgamo was a robot that appeared in Return of Ultraman back in 1971. This rumor does sound a bit plausible thanks to the success of the use of robots in Ultraman Z, and it's also Ultraman Jack's anniversary this year. I could see Tsuburaya and Bandai continue this popular trend, and it was reasonable that they might revisit an old robot just like they did to Savenger. And while the rumor ultimately didn't come true, something of a similar vein did happen as Gut Select uses Nurse Desei instead, a tribute to Nurse from Ultra 7. Pretty clever rumor, but ultimately not accurate. The previous two rumors popped up on the exact same day that the trademark was found, and if you ask me, that's pretty fishy, and it just feels like some people who want to take advantage of the hype and mystery. Now this next one is pretty interesting. It's a rumor that popped up on 5chan a few days later. It's set 3 years after Tiga, and Daina no longer exists due to the effect of a mysterious being. TPC is destroyed by monsters from different universes, and Trigger is born as a result of the messing of time and space. Ultraman Trigger is the key to fix history. Okay, I'd describe this rumor as reactive. Daina no longer existing. This is pretty clearly written in response to the Takeshi Tsuruno situation at the time. So, in the earlier episodes of Ultraman Chronicle Z, Asuka, the host of Ultraman Daina, was cut out of the show for some controversial reasons. So rumors like this quickly took the opportunity to write Daina out of the series because they think his host cannot come back anymore. I don't think Tsuburaya would do that to one of their creations, and 2, the situation has been addressed. Next, the monsters from another universe and the restoring timeline thing was pretty much in response to Ultra Galaxy Fight the Absolute Conspiracy, which focused quite a bit on the effects of manipulating time. I think some people were expecting the Absolutian storyline to span into this year's installment and then into the Kingdom, but I don't think they would involve it that heavily, considering they always keep things pretty accessible with some slight exceptions. And this is also pretty heckin' edgy for an Ultraman premise really. TPC gets annihilated, Trigger born out of the repercussions of messing with space and time and all that jazz. But that's what I thought about JIT when it first got its synopsis, so it was kind of plausible. Anyway, I'm writing this rumor off as just a theory by someone who tried to connect the ongoing plots and real life happenings. This next rumor is one that I find quite believable. The main director of Ultraman Z, Kiyotaka Taguchi, will be the main director of Ultraman Trigger. This I could see happening since Z was a big hit, and like this poster said, he already did direct Orb and X back to back, so it's not unprecedented. Although this was debunked with the announcement that Koichi Sakamoto of Ultraman JIT would be the director instead. Ultraman Trigger will feature a new Tiga designed by Masayuki Goto, the head designer at Tsuburaya Productions, and the designer of all new generation Ultraman. It's unclear whether this new Tiga will be a second Ultraman beside Trigger, or if the new Tiga is Trigger himself. If the latter is what they meant, then yeah, Trigger is kind of a revision of Tiga by Masayuki Goto, like a what if he was designed in the new generation. The following rumor is from 2channel, and it says that the new series will be called Ultraman TG, and that there's a good reason why there's no D in the title. No one spelled Trigger with D if that's what you're asking. Once again, a pretty reactive speculation, trying to address Tsuruno's disappearance from the Chronicle show. It also says that there are new Golza and Melba for key visuals, which as we now know, is not true. Now that all those are out of the way, we suddenly enter the real leak territory, what I like to call the great trademark dump of March. So many trademarks were found, among them being names for possible new monsters like Death Drago, Golba, and new Gut stuff like Gut Select and Gut's Hyperkey. At this point, it is absolutely all but confirmed that it will echo Ultraman Tiga. I think the most interesting new names from this leak is the Nurse Desei, which sounds like a combination of the Dragon Nurse and the ship Art Desei from Ultraman Tiga. and the names Dargon, Hudram, and Carmilla, which are eerily similar to Tiga's Dark Giants. But the notable thing about this is how many new trademarks dropped. It looks like there's a lot of new kaijus. Satandelos, Okagubila, Golba, Death Drago. It looks like they're really power loading this series with a lot of new stuff. And circle arms! What could it possibly be? Oh, eventually the television magazine Terabi-kun got leaked, and we see a mysterious figure next to Ultraman Tiga. Tsuburaya also showed this image shortly after on Twitter, but the more interesting leak from this is an actual leak of some concept art. I don't know where this came from, but yeah, he matches up pretty well with the teased image. But what is this dark figure behind him? Don't quote me on this, but among the leaked trademarks was Trigger Dark, so many speculate that this guy is Trigger Dark, similar to how Ultraman Tiga has a dark form called Tiga Dark. Now, I quite like Trigger's design. Honestly, he kind of fits in with Tiga, Dyna, Gaia, and Agur with the simpler body patterns, although it's a bit hard to judge based on just this concept art. If I had to nitpick, I'm probably not a fan of the gold on the side of his face. It makes his face feel kind of narrow. But since Tsuburaya teased a new light, surely they'll reveal the series shortly after, right? We waited for 2 weeks! Finally, on the 14th of April, the teaser of Ultraman and Trigger New Generation Tiga premiered with great reception. The Kiyotaka Taguchi director rumors were deconfirmed as Koichi Sakamoto returns as the main director. And now we got a full look at Ultraman Trigger, his forms, the Guts Spark Lens, Guts Hyper Key, Guts Select Uniform, and the silhouettes of the Dark Giant XPs. Trigger looks better than I expected, although I can't shake off that his face looks really similar to Ultraman X. And of course, the Circle Arms too. I'm not going to lie, I thought Circle Arms was going to be a name for a kaiju at first, but it turned out to be Trigger's multi-purpose weapon. It looks pretty cool as far as gimmick weapons go, but I could do with reworking the red circle. The claw mode looks pretty awkward too, but if I have to talk any more about it, I won't stop laughing. And there you have it, a brief history of the rumors leading up to the reveal of Ultraman Trigger. Of course, the rumors and speculation didn't end here. There are loads of stuff to discuss and talk about, like more toy listings, leaked set images, as well as a steady drip of information from official sources. This was honestly the first time I actually followed Ultra speculation diligently, because Trigger being a celebration of Tiga and possibly Dyna and Gaia is just way interesting, and it looks like many people online feel the same way too. Ultraman Trigger is now finally airing, and I think, for me at least, it felt like a wild ride while anticipating it. I'd like to hear your thoughts on Trigger and what you'd expect from it in the comments, and maybe you guys have some crazy past encounters of rumors that you'd want to share too. Phew! Now that that's over, it's time for me to catch up on some real world news. It's Ultraman Day!